Man. Okay, we're going live now, and this time we're on the correct channel. Want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is another Monday night, which means it's time for another online open mic, aka the stay-at-home open mic. We want to thank you for tuning in, whether it be live in person right now. If you are watching live by any chance, we do have a live chat. We would love it if you can participate with us. Let us know you're here. What's your name, where you're listening in from, and then comment on people's performances. Who did you like? What line stood out to you? Did you learn anything? What shocked you? What made you feel something? And if you've been tuning in before, you may hear that my voice is sounding a little off. I am struggling to talk a little bit today. It happens. Apparently, I do get sick sometimes. So I'm trying to ride that out. And so everyone's favorite host, when the teacher's sick and your favorite substitute comes in, that's what's happening right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the reliever. I'm getting pulled first inning, He's going to have to put in some work. We got Kit Wren in the house, who's always here, is going to fill in for host. But really quick, this is our stay-at-home open mic presented by Barbed Wire Open Mic Series. We are based out of Paso, Texas, but because we are online, we get to tap in with people from all over the country, all over the world, and we hope that you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, Kit, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'll still be here running things in the background, muting, unmuting, YouTube stuff, links, but thank you for the help today. Let's go ahead and make some noise for today's host. Filling in, we got Kit Wren.
All right, it's my pleasure, Richie. And to be a favorite substitute teacher, that's a very worthwhile ambition. I remember my favorite was a sweet old lady named Mrs. Mitchell. Told me once I needed a little brother because I needed someone to pick on. There was some sound reasoning to it, but I'm growing old and deciding to pick on people less and less these days. So I'm not going to pick on any of our esteemed readers tonight. They're all going to knock the house down. There will be a little bit of fretting about who follows who, but steel sharpens steel. We don't believe in tough acts to follow. And we're going to go first in our merry bus all the way up to New York City, because that is where Deadpan Lizzie plies their trade, and we are eager to hear from her. And whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Kit. Beanie blessings. Richie, I hope you feel better. Okay. Sending you much love and positive vibes. I'm going to read I have a new book of prose is out. It's called Inner Visions. So if anyone wants to buy one, it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It'll be in some other places, or you could always reach out to me on IG, ES_Strauss, for a signed first edition author copy. So I'm going to read the prose, knowledge, and perseverance tonight. Heavy forces coming in hot, their timing could not be worse. The words finally connecting, flowing without any effort. Their favorite dance, a tango. Knowledge and perseverance always take the lead. Yet today, one image turns the positivity into droplets of sweat. The heart never racing so quickly, the panic button nowhere in sight. One image that science has stored so far back in the brain, you forget it exists. Their habitat not too far away from yours, yet so far away. Cue the Carole King. A song that takes one through every stage of heartache. Words you thought could be permanently deleted from your playlist, but the forces refuse to allow this. Every once in a while, they pinch the heart. Will pain always be inevitable? Perhaps. Too far down the rabbit hole for the rest of the day to feel just okay. Fingers no longer want to tango a waltz now. Maybe not. Days like this only begin to feel slightly bearable with the process of elimination. Finally strong enough to do this. Yes. When dawn breaks, remember time heals everything, occasionally. Don't cue Jerry Herman. Dance or don't. Do what you must to get through the rough patches. Someday science will let it feel like a nothing burger. Not the nicest phrase, but it's what comes to mind as the fingers move across the keyboard. Knowledge and perseverance continue to take the lead. That's from April 22nd, 2020. It is a volume from 2018 to 2022 of proses. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And if people are watching for the first time, where can they find more from you on the internet?
Thanks. Mostly on Instagram, ES_Strauss. My website is also there, ElizabethSophiaStrauss.com. If you want to learn more about me or my books or my open mics and everything I do. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you for kicking us off, as you often do. And we started this mic over 2 years ago. It's kind of an emergency measure. In the early days of lockdown, some of us were getting pent up. We needed to shout things in public, and there was no more public. But we've kept it going because we've made so many friends across the country. People like Lizzie and people like our next reader, all the way up in the mountains of Denver. Please welcome Michael Sindler.
Yeah, I'm so happy y'all made this available for all of us. It's a great thing. I am gonna, just before I start, as usual, put up my little sign for lighthousewriters.org, which is, as y'all know, y'all can always repeat after me, a wonderful resource for whatever you're trying to do as a writer. All kinds of great classes and workshops and free events. I'm going to start. It's been working on a couple of months since we lost Donna, but still very much on my mind. And this is the second poem I've written for her. It's called Tumble into Sorrow. Stumbling into sacred space, sadly stretched by shutdown, falling into finding a strong soul, strength through compassion, leading gently from desk in front of dog-filled sofa, easy energy and infectious humor, leading into kind communication, shared stories, forging friendship, inspiring across bridged boundaries, worlds tumbling, kept from straying by your firm but gentle hand. Thank you, Donna. We tumble into sorrow as you tumble into grace. We will never forget. And for those who don't know, that is for Donna Snyder, who founded Tumble Words, and was a great inspiration to a lot of people here, I think. This next one is called Let Go of Together. I've had to let go of together. No space reserved for reunion. Love can still hang in balance. It can hover without anchor, but it will not lash together. It will not bind proximity. It will not reweave torn skein. I've had to rethink and remember. Treasure held gently is less likely to crumble. A song on wind, wings where it wishes. Record too off, played back, sound scratched with static. Tune tastes like smack to an addict. To hold close is to invite overdose. I've had to let go of together. I've had to make room for forever. I've had to let what is be all right. To empty the closet of regrets. To throw away everything that no longer fits. Let charity take what cannot be held, what should not be shelved. To release, to resolve, to remember. Love is not an attachment. I've had to let go of together. And I'm going to go ahead and take off the hat and or put on the hat. Can't take it off until you put it on. And I watched this really nice thing that Library of America did earlier today. on the Unknown Kerouac. It was a really neat thing about his translations, because he translated a lot of his own work from French into English, something I was unaware of. But it put me in a Kerouac kind of mood. So I'm going to do a couple of the choruses from Mexico City Blues. And this one is I'm going to start with the 211th chorus. The wheel of the quivering meat conception turns in the void, expelling human beings, pigs, turtles, frogs, insects, nits, mice, lice, lizards, rats, roan, racing horses, poxy, bucolic, pig ticks, horrible, unnameable lice of vultures, murderous, attacking dog armies of Africa, rhinos roaming in the jungle, vast boars and huge, gigantic bull elephants, rams, eagles, condors, pones, and porcupines, and pills, all the endless conception of living beings, gnashing everywhere in consciousness through the 10 directions of space, occupying all the quarters in and out, from super microscopic no bug to huge galaxy light year bowel, illuminating the sky of one mind. Poor, I wish I was free of that slaving meat wheel and safe in heaven dead. And this is the 241st chorus. And how sweet a story it is when you hear Charlie Parker tell it, either on records or at sessions or official bits and clubs, shots in the arm for the wallet. Gleefully, he whistled the perfect horn. Anyhow, made no difference. Charlie Parker, forgive me. Forgive me for not answering your eyes, for not having made an indication of that which you can devise. Charlie Parker, pray for me. Pray for me and everybody in the nirvanas of your brain, where you hide, indulgent and huge, no longer Charlie Parker, but the secret unsayable name that carries with it merit, not to be measured from here to up, down, east, or west. Charlie Parker, lay the bane off me and off everybody. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Is there any upcoming features or events you want to highlight?
I do not, for the change, but thanks for asking.
Always do. I have to get into certain habits as a host so I don't drop them. You might think I'm repeating myself, and you're right, but there's a reason. Speaking of repeating myself, we're going to go now to Pittsburgh, where the Allegheny meets the Ohio, and the other one whose name I can never remember. And here comes a voice to correct me very soon. Oh,
no.
I've made them a little too self-conscious. I made it a little too meta. That is my fault. I will atone for this later. But coming up next, a very exciting voice who works in many different forms of writing, including playwriting. They are going to have a play premiere very soon off Broadway. They are Vale Larkin. Vale, please, when you're ready.
Hi. Actually, I think technically it's only 2 offs. If I lived in New York City, I would care immensely about this.
Just making sure. Just being cautious.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's Broadway adjacent and just leaving it at that. Okay, my links are and everything are in the chat. I'm gonna do 2 pieces, but the first one is long. This is called Hector Performs for the Furies, and it is about the Trojan War. The characters mentioned are Hector, who is the Prince of Troy, Hecuba, who is the Queen of Troy and Hector's mother, Cassandra, who is Hector's sister, and Helen of Troy, who is actually Helen of Greece, who was kidnapped and then blamed for everybody else's war. His body beats dust clouds up behind that wretched wagon, head hitting and rebounding like a child's string toy or trebuchet, or something else both ridiculous and horrific. They are watching him, each in their own way. They are following his fall like it will destroy them, and it will destroy them. Virgin, siren, and Hecuba queen, before the goddess, before the hunt. Cassandra does not witness it, not with her eyes. Cowered behind the battlements, lids and mouth shut tight, ears covered, but she can feel it, scraping skin, flesh, and bone down to their tatters. She can taste his blood flying. She clings to the stones, shattering, scattering, her or the stones, or Hector and the stones. Strings wind around her, pulling her vision from yesterday to this moment to the end of everything. She does not watch her brother's body, her mind scourged by the dust of the battlefield. Helen sees it all, though. She absorbs. She adapts. This is what she will always do. Child bride to showpiece, to victim, to prize. She does not know what it feels like to be valued for anything but her skin and the eyes in her head. But staring, vacant, not when her spirit creeps forward to scream, reaching for just a moment, a breath of willfulness into the hand of a man pushes her back. She relents to a sigh, mouth twitching, careful to train her smile on the sky. Hecuba watches Achilles. They call her cruel and unwomanly, though who says else of the ancient and wise? She has borne multitudes, but more. She has held power and used it to make of the world what she wishes her children to see. All gone, all undone. Boys playing in the water and in the lives of the women around them, and here her last golden son, or the last who has not raped his way into a war. Hector, or his meat, is now just a toy for the bullies to play with. Hecuba watches Achilles and plots her own fate. In the second one, I figured I'd do a little mythology set. So this is Eurydice, or Vina Descends, on the myth and The Ground Beneath Her Feet by Salman Rushdie. She is always in photographs, frozen, like she exists only in flashbulb memory as an image, an idea, an ideal. His genius is lauded, and his vigor and his disdain. She is not permitted. She is loose and loud or cold, frigid and unforgiven. The same eyes see them into black and white avatars. He is Genesis, and she is Revelations, creation, and the deadly show. Her own genius shines in every word, glance, touch, and they acknowledge none of it. When she fell beneath the streets that raised her, beneath the earth she could never clean from her face, they stood bewildered as he followed her down. Order never should come after chaos, they cried. They would not see how he had only ever followed, planting in ground she'd already broken. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Vale. I love reinterpretations of mythology, and that was very good. Is there anything upcoming that you want to plug?
Yes, December 10th, I'll be host or facilitating Tumble Words with a workshop called Poetry in the Raw, which is about confession and vulnerability in creative writing. And that evening, I've just gotten the word that I'll be featuring for Bonk on Facebook Live and Zoom the same evening, December 10th.
With a name like Bonk, it has to be good. Thank you so much, Vale. Thank you very much. And we're going to be moving from Pittsburgh to somewhere a little closer, somewhere, just a little bit that way. If you want to be technical, if you want to pry too much into my life, but that's fine. You can do that. Because we're going to go to the poet laureate of Tumble Words, the best poet in this family and under this roof. We're going to Robin Schofield.
Thank you. Well, I thought I would drag out these poems from a collection I'm calling Nightmare Woman. And that's the title of the first poem too. The fox jumps up in the old dry Franklin Canal. She thought she might be permafrost, except for the way her heart jumped overnight. He takes the hunter's moon down from the sky, carrier of lightning and her liver that jumps for a bird of prey. The caribou come down her throat into the thyroid, and they drink from a mighty river, unlike the dry canal. She swears her eyes were nervous and yellow. Her legs twitched like the voles above ground. Her nerves hissed with electricity, trashed like leaves. Let her come to the compost heap in all her bones when the river crests by the pineal gland. Open up the floodgates, turn on all the valves. Her blood vessels flee in the river like tiny darters. His forehead floats in the clouds, the night clouds. His lips are a long, drawn-out desert sunset. Her heart jumps like the fox in the dry canal. He dips his hands into the river. He lays them on her. Now she says her name. All right, and this one's called Coming to Be. An owl nests in my mouth. She flies out nightly to hunt with her talons by the moonlight. A prayer for the dead begins again, and the land that was stolen tells the story over and over again. I make my rounds to check on the tarantula hiding underground with my arms and chest. What would the earth give to make me whole again? The cave on the mountainside is dark, so dark as my mouth, where the owl has flown back and folded her wings around her young, yet to take flight. All right. And this one is, it's one I've read before several times, but it's always a good one, I think. It's called Hospitality. You never know when a stranger might be an angel. Therefore, always let them in. Don't let strangers die of thirst in your desert. They won't know the secret water holes you have mapped in your head, a treasure code. X marks the life you would give to strangers in order to make a friend in the lonely desert. There is an understanding that they would do the same for you and show you the shade of the one tree, an acacia hugging the ground, befriending the ants. The migrants in search of water, let them in. Either they are angels or they need one. Okay, and then I thought I would read one out of my book, Flow. And I just like to put in a plug for Flo. It won a little award from librarians in 2019. And it's available, like a lot of local authors were available at Literarity Bookstore on Mesa Street. So anyway, this one's called Bite of Inwit, when late autumn flow causes a temperature inversion. And Bite of Inwit, that's Old English for conscience. You know, the voice of the conscience, Bite of Inwit. I kind of like that. And then a temperature inversion is when we get warmer air over cooler air, and it makes a seal over the sky, and it's very smoky. Warmer air seals the sky shut over a bowl of colder air, trapping the breath of the morning smokestacks. A second horizon by the law of thermodynamics rises in the aqua sky. The smoke goes flat at the line yellowed by chemicals, the carbon orange opposite of blue oxygen. Unlike the seedy marigolds in their one season, Esperanza, yellow bells scattered by rain, is frozen in time, due another round. I'm standing under the Afghan pine, thinking I'll not cut the branches that block the sun and burn them after the icy rain. Okay, so that's from my book Flow, and that's about these November days. And then I want to read something. I want to do a cover poem by somebody I know, and it's Aldo Amparan. And he's a poet from our sister city, Ciudad Juarez. And I'd like to read the first poem out of his book, Brother Sleep, which won an award, the 2020 Alice James Award. Very prestigious, by the way. And Aldo, signed copies are available at Literarity. Okay, so the very first poem is before the first section, and it's called Litany with Burning Fields. Let's say death only exists in this line. Let sleep be an only child with a single mother, the dark and elegant moon dropping poppies into my yawn. In the dream, I burn 600 acres and sprint across the flames, unclothed. I turn out gilded. I wake up to my brother springing on my bed before dawn, my grandfather heating water in the wailing kettle. Again, say death exists only in this line. A brother grows tumors in his throat. A grandfather dissolves into the soil of a churchyard. I admit I'm in love with sleep. Each morning, I wake up and a shovel caves the peak of my stomach. I wake up and dust varnishes my brother's side of the bed. I wake up and a field is burning outside my window. And it just, that's like the theme poem for the whole book, where he's made mythological characters out of death and sleep. And there's the death of the grandfather, the death of a brother. It's a very, it's an amazing book. So I recommend Aldo a whole lot. And as always, come to Tumble Words. We have some amazing people coming up, including Vale. And what else? Tumble Words is at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and on Saturdays. And yeah, that's what I have. I have a new book coming out. Just What the World Needs, another book of poetry, right? It's called Ridge of High Pressure from Mouthfeel Press. So that's what I got going on.
The world always needs more poetry. Thank you very much. Will allow me to act as host. Thank you very much, Robin. That third poem she read is one of my favorites. It's very important. One of my best friends worked as an immigration attorney processing asylum claims, and had that poem framed on his desk to kind of remind him what it's all about. And there's never enough poetry, because we kind of need to be guided back into what it's all about. So thanks again. Our next guest, we're going to go up to our main man in Maine. He always leaves fun little comments in the spreadsheet, and I don't think it's right to keep those private. So we're going to go through this. His location is Fair to Midland. I didn't know there was a fair in Midland. That's kind of a go nowhere town. So that's exciting for them. And for his bio, he's just given me a bit of advice. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Thank you. I needed that. I get a little constricted sometimes in my breathing patterns. I appreciate that reminder. Salute if you feel the need. Please welcome Brian Franco to the stage.
Oh, thank you. There were 4 breathe in, breathe out, but we only got 2 from Kit. That's okay.
Well, I'm just going to do them and not say it.
That's okay. That's okay. We got to preserve time. I'm going to do a series of Sankas, and those who went to my first Tumble Words workshop, the Sanka is sort of a Japanese form poem that I invented that has 6 or 7 lines with 3 to 9 syllables a piece, or 3 to 9 syllables, but the same amount of syllables per line. So I'm going to just read a few of those. The first, and then I'll read a regular poem. The first is the art of agreeing to not disagree. I might agree with something I don't fully understand, as long as I can understand what I'm agreeing with isn't disagreeable. The second is called The Pinnacle of Knowledge. If I knew anything worth knowing, I would know what I knew was truly worth knowing. Infutility is not a real word. I spend so much time waiting, the time I don't spend waiting seems futile. Respiration. Maybe if I just let myself breathe instead of holding my breath for no reason at all, I could breathe easily. It ain't no chameleon. I attempted to incite karma, but karma can only happen when no one is aware. How many decibels is a dropping pin? Validation sounds like a simple sigh, a gentle breeze of satisfaction, a nice pat on the back. Whistle sniff. When drinking coffee on top of partaking in doctor-prescribed diuretics, one should try to be careful when choosing vegetables. And finally, why some people hoard latex gloves. Trigger warning is all I'm going to say. This has a trigger warning. Why some people hoard latex gloves. Sometimes you have to fist yourself to pull the right words out of your butt to say what's on your mind. And I will just do one poem, which is called, appropriately, Why I Am Certifiably Defective. Some people have accused me of being a communist when it comes to cheese. I am anti-American cheese. I 100% believe that McDonald's can afford to offer cheddar or provolone on all cheeseburgers and ditch the over-processed crapiolas without raising prices. Also, when it comes to Cheese Whiz, while I am okay with the delivery method, I am wary of any cheese that does not have to be refrigerated and legally has to be spelled with a Z. I will admit, though, that there is something to be said for a good old-fashioned grilled American cheese sando on fortified bleached wheat, preservative-laden white bread with a bowl of Campbell's condensed tomato soup, lacking any chunky pieces of tomato or basil or oregano, a summer camp nostalgia meal that makes me a giddy foodie. I could write an extremely long dissertation on the issue of the horribility of condensed soups that might possibly win a Pulitzer after a bidding war for media rights between the New York Times, Washington Post, and Bon Appetit, but the only PhD offered in ranting and raving from Notre Dame University requires all students in the program to subsist on communion wafers as their sole carb source for its duration. That rule offends me as a Jew, and they won't let me substitute matzah for the wafers, which is their right as a religious educational institution. After being denied this incredible learning opportunity, I decided to defect to Russia, was denied entry, but received a lovely handwritten consolation letter from Vladimir Putin himself. My dearest Mr. Franco, while we appreciate your position on fast food cheeseburgers, your very public opinions on old-fashioned grilled American cheese sandwiches disqualifies you for citizenship to Mother Russia. With sincerity and sadness as a fan of your most clever poetry, because dictatorial despots can be poetry lovers too, the future modern-day Tsar of the all-supreme Russian Empire, the Vladman Putin. P.S. Is the Vladman thing a bit too much? I think it makes me sound hipper with the young folks. BTW, if you had been accepted for defection, you would have been the first American-born Jewish poet laureate in Russian history. Das Vidanya. Less than a week later, I received a letter kicking me out of the Communist Party of the United States of America. Gracias, everyone. And I don't really have, my next feature is a live feature, which is in Johnson City, Tennessee on the 2nd of December, Friday the 2nd of December, which you know, and this is a open mic hosted by Rick Spisak, who a lot of people know from some of the other open mics that we have on Zoom. And I'm driving down to Atlanta for Thanksgiving, and on the way back, I'm going to stop in Nashville to see some folks, and I'm going to see Sky's the Limit, and I'm going to go to Johnson City, and then I'm going to go to Charlotte, and then Richmond to visit Special K. So it's really going to be a fun return trip. Anyways, thank you very much. I'll put all the info in the chat that I have. And thank you very much, Richie. I hope you feel better. Thank you, Kit. You're a wonderful host. And thank you, Robin, for giving us Kit.
All right. Thank you, Brian. I might have found an ancestor to your invented Japanese form, parentheses, question mark, parentheses, in an old Jack Gilbert poem called Métier. The Greek fishermen do not play on the beach, and I don't write funny poems.
Well, I'm going to just say the reason behind the Sanka was that I couldn't fit all the syllables into a tanka. So I just extended a line or extended 2 lines and just made my own, decided how long they should be and give it a little breath so that people can do it easily.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you again, as always, for coming. And next, we are going back to Texas, but not quite to Mountain Time. We're going to stop over in the Panhandle. This person made their debut with us last week, and it was a pretty exciting time. And I'm extra excited because, you know, in doing this over 2 years, I've got my own little silly catchphrases, and I get to dust this one off because the only thing better than a first-time reader is a second-time reader. So please welcome Lungs of Dust to the stage.
Hello, thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here, second time actually. All right, so I have a few things. I'm gonna read a couple of my own, and then I'm gonna read a couple of Asata Shakur. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with mine. It was the 5th of July. I was so high, getting lost in the back roads of Oklahoma, finding churches for sale, burning film to remember every detail, hoping this asphalt finds me sacred, like the old dust of the Cherokee on my windshield, wanting to be healed. I was trying to make the most of that summer, resurrecting myself in a way before I really decay. I drove and drove, even left pieces of myself there. My old worn out shoes. They spent so much time on grip tape, saw every scrape. So I flung them over power lines to create their own vines. It was your birthday, dear friend. I carry that number around me always. Like the scars on my knee, I know death comes with its fee. I'm a long ways from home. I have no backup plans for anything. I have no idea where I'll sleep tonight or what will happen at daylight. The only plan I have is adding miles to my face, spilling tears down my cheeks, chain smoking cigarettes. I'm sure these lungs are gone by now. And somehow I'll get higher and higher at each mile marker before the day grows darker. I took an exit somewhere in a small town I'll never see again. I watched kids burn the last remaining fireworks in their street. I watched it all from the front seat. I felt the last of my feelings as the fireworks hit the ceilings. I felt ruined then, but always the mistake of a child who yet knows their fate. Fuck, I miss that interstate. It was your birthday, dear friend, and I was off getting lost in Oklahoma, searching for a home. But that day, your birthday, was the best to roam. That one is my first one. Here is the second one by me. I stand here swaying in the cold, listening to the songs of summer, wanting to say my greatest dreams out loud. The new year breathing down my neck, far off in the distance, oil man on the main deck. There's dreams to creep in or yet awaken, like the stars in the sky when it's overtaken. By the black of the night, one more star in the sky, I light straight to my lungs. They seem like lost words burning down in this ghost town. That one was the other one. So I have a couple I'm gonna read. They're from Asata Shakur. She is like incredibly amazing. I read her autobiography like 2 years ago, I think, and I wish I could read it every year. It was so beautiful. So let me catch my breath. I feel like I'm like we're trying to read too fast. So this one is called Affirmation. I believe in living. I believe in the spectrum of beta days and gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in windmills and waterfalls, tricycles and rocking chairs. And I believe that seeds grow into sprouts and sprouts grow into trees. I believe in the magic of the hands and the wisdom of the eyes. I believe in rain and tears and in the blood of infinity. I believe in life, and I've seen the death parade march through the torso of the earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I've seen the destruction of the daylight. I've seen bloodthirsty maggots prayed to and saluted. I have seen the kind become the blind and the blind become the bind in one easy lesson. I have walked on cut glass. I have eaten crow and blunder bread and breathed the stench of indifference. I have been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy. And if I know anything at all, it's that a wall is just a wall and nothing more, nothing more at all. It can be broken down. I believe in living. I believe in birth. I believe in the sweat of love and the fire of truth. And I believe that a lost ship steered by tired, seasick sailors can still be guided home to port. That's from Asata. It's called Affirmation. And my last one is my absolute favorite one. It's super tiny, but I read it so many times. It's just, I don't know, I feel it in my heart. This one is called Culture. I must confess that waltzes do not move me. I have no sympathy for symphonies. I guess I hummed the blues too early, and I spent too many midnights out wailing to the rain. And that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank
Is there
you.
any online presence that you want people to be aware of? Where people can follow you?
My username on Instagram is just Lungs of Dust. It's just a personal one. I don't I don't even share like poetry, or I mean, sometimes I do every once in a while, but it's just pictures of me just hanging out, doing my thing.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. As Walt
Thanks,
Whitman said,
Kit.
Thank you. As Walt Whitman said, I celebrate myself and sing myself. That the Instagram is the social media site most attuned to poetry, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth. Coming up next to our stage, you're used to seeing this person in the scroll of comments down and to the right from this lovely video. But tonight she's migrated all the way up to the main screen. And it's been a long time since we've heard her, and we're happy to have her on board. Please welcome Sandy to the stage. Sandy, when you're ready. Can't hear you. What's going on here? So you talking about? Can't hear you.
Uh-oh. We've lost her. Hopefully she'll come back.
We can't hear you, Sandy.
Hang on.
Yeah, it might be the headphone. Yeah, we're not getting anything. It worked a little earlier.
Let's see.
You want to try not using the headphone?
Yeah, try taking the headphones out and just see if that works, because it might be the microphone. Can you hear us? Okay, she's nodding her head, yes.
Are you trying it without the mic? Without the headphone?
Yeah, we're not getting anything.
Yeah, I'm on a second, Richie, though.
Hello?
There you go.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yay.
All right.
All of my headphones seem to be not working.
Now that we've got everyone's attention for certain, please welcome Sandy.
All right. Sorry about the tech problems, guys. Tonight, I'm gonna share one poem I just read. I just wrote recently, which is kind of just happened spontaneous. I was watching I was interested in some Native American music because it's Native American Heritage Month, right? So if I can share my screen really quick, Kit, if that's okay. I don't know how to do it, but I guess I'm learning tonight.
It's just been turned on for you.
All right, okay. So I'm gonna only play a little bit of this song, so I don't have to play, but you guys are welcome to check it out. I'm just gonna play a sample of it, and this song inspired me to write the poem that I'm gonna read just now. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
No.
No, you may actually have to do this share sound unless you're just doing it on YouTube, which then you just might need to turn
Are
the
you guys
volume up.
able to hear the song?
No, we don't hear it at all. Yeah, we're not hearing it. But we're still up for your point.
So I guess that's not working.
If you want, you can send the link in the
It's
chat.
okay.
Send the link in the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry about that, guys. I thought it was gonna go a little smoother than that.
Oh, good.
Okay, so
It's all good.
So it's a really cool song. But so that song inspired me to write my poem. I still need to fix it, but it reminded me of a time when I was in Hueco Tanks. I was hiking in Hueco Tanks, and if anybody's been there, it's pretty cool. It doesn't look like anything from afar, but when you get there. Okay, so this is the first poem. I'm gonna read 3. Large black turkey vultures greeted us at the entrance. We watched them devour roadkill of rabbits and rodents. They were each 4 feet tall with wild black messy feathers, a bit of red and white on their heads. We hiked the open trails of gravel and dirt. On one trail of many footsteps, I went into the brush and I found a small cave, a cave that spoke to me of gatherings, tall enough to stand in. At the opposite of the east entrance was a sunbeam so bright, shining into the cave as if it was a stage. I went to it, took out my clay flute, and played for the spirits of the past. The sounds traveled around the cave walls and into the open air and swept away with the wind. We jumped from boulder to brown boulder when a small coyote spotted me. We stared at one another, then went our separate ways. Atop Hueco bowls waited to catch the sky's tears, already filled with stagnant water and algae. At sunset, I sat on top of North Mountain, facing west in lotus pose, said goodnight to the day, and descended downward to the campgrounds. Light brown cottontail rabbits flooded the horizon. Outside our tent at dawn, a new day had begun. So that's my poem that I wrote for National Native American Heritage. It's always nice to get back to nature. And my next 2 poems, are from my upcoming ebook. And I'm going to be reading from my screen. So if I look like a deer in headlights, just my second poem of 3 is called Moon Dancers. My spirit, like the winds, blows past and in between Aztec pyramids. My shadows pave the sundial dust. I am sky, the night sky of traveling rays. My spherical, celestial lights spinning into infinity. Walk in my blue-purple mist, my blue and clouds of my many powers. Inhale the lights of lavender peyote, a journey through my many selves. Spread your fingers toward the moon. Grasp, hold on to what you think is real. For I wear the crown of roses by the moon dancers. Swirls of circles and squares fall around me, then back into black iris eye. Mayan gods of copper clay float clockwise. My spirit of cresote bush drips with the night's dew and spins with the many orbits of sunsets into layers of moon spheres. And my last poem, is everybody still there? Yes, are you still there? Okay. And my last poem is called We March.
We gather one by one, marching a slow march, feet dragging, hunched over, bent sideways. Ground shifts underneath our feet, our bodies casting shadows that linger and disappear back into objects. Some have flowers in their hair, some wear a mask, some dance a jump of jubilees, bedazzled lights and glittered gowns, others wail on wooden stilts. We march, parading down the street. Hear our cheers, hear our cries, see our clown makeup frowns. The hearse carries those who cannot walk. Percussion and choir echoing into hallways, into rooms and up walls. Shadow people fly above. Ghosts line the paths, greeting us at every corner. Our march, our parade goes on with the tap dancing girls, the light-footed ballet, the clanking of the bazaar. Okay, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Is there any place where people who are seeing you for the first time can follow you, can get more of that if that's what they want?
Right now I just have an Instagram. It's called Sandy Candies. You can check me out there, and I'll put my links for IG and my my Amazon ebook on the chat.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure to ferry those over to the YouTube chat.
All right.
And thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
again. Well, thank you for joining us. Coming up next, we had a late arriver. He's been with us before. He's shows a lot of promise. It's very interesting to hear what he has to say. Hope everyone welcomes Elaine Martinez.
Thank you, Kit, for introducing me. I didn't have anything planned tonight, but I do have some stuff that I do want to read. I want to see what you guys think, and thank you, or just thank you for your time. So this one is called What Do You Even Want? So a lot of these are just like stuff that I write at nighttime and just trying to write something. Most of the time it's just whatever I spew out or whatever I decide to type, whatever just flows, or whatever just comes out of me. So for this one's called What Do You Even Want? So it starts, chose something far better and you don't know if you made the right choice. Writing to yourself because you can't hear the voice. A patron lost, a soul saved. You moved in and out of a bubble that didn't burst. A broken bottle and it hurts. Rim job, glasses, and still the worst because you couldn't see it right in front of you. You stupid little hoe, you didn't see it. You refused to see it, and now here you are, begging for it again. Lover, I will never be that. Healer, I've been that. But for myself, I had to look beyond the light and see more. Look beyond the hurt and see the world. Another sad indie playlist for the other. Another sad song that we'll forget. You need to keep pushing. You need to keep trucking. Love another, but it shows in your eyes. Keep your mask on and your voice down. Keep your hat strong and leave them on for all. Love somebody, you stay. Do I stay or do I go? Faced with the decision of the world, do you want me or not? Do you care for me after all we fought? Only time remains to be seen. Today was forbidden. And then that's the end of that one. A lot of my writing comes from just hatred or just some like crazy stuff. But I mean, let's see this one. This one is called well, this one I think this one doesn't have a name, but it starts off, you were a paradox teeming with life, black death and clouds for eyes, casting glances aside so that you could find yourself in another. Most days are boring without you, but these are the best ones. When I remember why we could never coexist. Hate is such an awful word, but then so is bullshit. I'm not a walking paycheck. Your daddy issues are another reason to leave. The way I looked at you is the way you looked at me. Two animals starving to eat. Life doesn't work in mysterious ways. It just happens. Magic disperses and moves synchronous planets. Why can't this orbit just end? There was no other way to detail your insecurities than with your voice. When it came to showing I loved you, you gave me the choice. And now I made the right, and I know I made the right one. No slam doors, no bad words. You definitely were a lady, but you were another man's whore. You poor, hapless woman, you cruel, mistaken man. So much for a dream and so much for the plan. It was all bullshit anyways. You cannot find love in another. That's just facts. We were raised by sisters and mothers, and so too were our dads. It's time to take what is rightfully ours back. So take your medicine and make sure you look well. Nobody told you an ounce of truth, or even the best and even the best lies are thinly veiled. How easy it is to be a poet. Write down some words back to back. They don't even have to make sense. Long distance or breaks or whatever this is, I cannot come to explain. I can still feel her heartbeat in my veins. Even sleep schedules are maintained. Two little sunlights keeping away the rain. When one goes out, then I too shall do the same. But be warned, I will still maintain my flame. Holy bastardizations and early cremations, little birds and busy bees, both tired of flying. Still, there is no greater joy than flight. Honest thoughts and honest opinions, the truth hurts all. Simple, weak-minded, and useless. Black holes devoid of gravity, or are they too debased to understand their own finality? We all speak with emotion, and empathy shall not bridge that. No pity will not change that. And then this last one is called, that one, I don't think that one had a title. But then this last one is just red versus blue. Actually, yeah, okay, I'll just read this smaller one. So just base understandings and base musings, the teaching of asking, the words of a prince and the thoughts of a peasant, broken and defeated, looking for things that aren't repeated, cycles that keep on spinning, it all comes back around for what? So we can better ourselves, so we can be stronger than the things that made us, to break the cycle of pain, start a new one, end your pain, and ask it of another. Kill yourself early or foster another brother, you sick fuckers. And then that's it. All right, thank you. You can find me at Elaine the Main, ALAINTHEMANE. Thank you for letting me perform.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for showing up again. And just by way of reassurance, there's nothing wrong with writing out of spite sometimes. Sometimes we just got to spit that out like a loogie. Wasn't doing us any good inside of us. We got to get it out on the page sometimes. That'd be a rough transition, so I'm not going to do the speaking of gag. But coming up next, all the way in Los Angeles, we have one of our favorites. He is also a multidisciplinarian. He's poetry. He's going to be competing in an international slam competition soon, and he's also a very gifted guitarist and loves to make me guess what he's playing in a very fun little game that we play for all you people. Get your notebooks out because class is in session. Please welcome Mr. Tezazomok.
Hey kid, good to have you hosting again. Doing an
Good to be
awesome
here.
job. As always, all you need is a looper now and a saxophone. And I workshopped this piece with Paul Conqueso on Sunday. It was a really good workshop. I was telling him that he's been reading all my books and all my writing, so this is one of my I would classify this under trauma porn poetry. So it's titled "The Abyss of Trauma." We must vacate and abandon abolishment. When the body is rendered immobile, we focus on the trauma, the law, desire, and how the transgression enters our gaze. It shatters the idyllic life, customary order, the mendacity of quotidian life. The suspense results from shattering the semiotic fiction of totality. This device becomes the cognitive disturbance against the exterior thread that is drawn into the interior when the transgression contaminates the fictional whole. The surplus knowledge is itself enough to maintain trauma for a long time, even far from the field of view. The intersection of trauma is the inner tension that invades social fantasy of wholeness, the 0 degree of suspense, the neutral gaze loses its objectivity, its transparence, becoming reflected in the mirror stage of the return of the real. Shame represents the point where gaze enters fascinum, the black male moving into uneasy, that is as in being black male, not as a man, as a black person. The black male moving into uneasy and the sense of instability and anxiety. Shame as the black screen of the window with the malfunctioning neon sign of the crime. The landscape, the facade, the stain that can't be hidden like the jet of urine against the wall. The anxious suspense of intimate mixture of panic, movement, immobility, of the viscosity of terror. Finally, the scarred silhouette blot is the counterpart, the concentrated point, the 0 degree that accomplishes the form of the positive expression. And that was the carrot on the stick. And let's go to this other one here. All right. All right, here we go. Then I'll have some news for after I do this. It's been since 2015. The mass migration across Europe. Your migratory vessel vision. Faithful distance, so far. Lingering is the faded after the anxiety of loss, so long, so long, so long ago. silent side. The shrouds of MiG-30 napalm bomb. Your murmur heart and tearful eyes, the bulging crowds and tomb cemeteries of mine. Lingering is the faded after image. The anxiety of loss, so long ago. All right. Who was that, Kit?
I'm afraid you've stumped me.
Yeah, this is titled "Crisis Roles of 2015." Is about the Russian intervention in Syria and the mass migrations across Europe. And the author and writer is yours, your friend.
All right. I
There's no
had
way
a
you
hunch.
could guess that. That is an original.
I had a hunch, but I didn't want to guess that and be wrong. That'd be embarrassing for both of us.
But thank you.
Yes,
So I have
and
a
you
lot of
mentioned
things-
an announcement. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I have
Sorry.
a lot of things going on. I'm running out of time. So I'm headed down to Mexico City, the 3 days, the 24th through the 26th at the UNAM, the center, and at the university. There's like 3 sites that are going to be hosting poetry slams, and so that's that. And then my buddy here just dropped on Amazon, so the book is done and it's on sale right now. I'll drop the links on the chat. And I think that's about it. I think you guys got to hear a lot of it being workshop here. It is bilingual in Spanish and code switch English. The first section is code switch English and Spanish. The second half of it is strictly Spanish. And that is what I'm going to be, that work is what I'm going to be using in Mexico City. So we'll see how it does. So thank you all for letting me share some of these things.
Right. Well, thank you, and we'll all be rooting for you in
Thank
the
you.
Capitol. All right. Well, sometimes this mic goes a little bit quickly, and if someone misses their spot, their mood might turn prickly. Nevertheless, he's shown up just in time to bless us with the gift of his rhyme. You might think that it's contagious, and it's really quite outrageous. But Ed Poetastic is here. Eddie.
Oh, please go on. Please.
I would not want to usurp the form of the master. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Kit. You always a hit every time you spit. Oh, my name is Ed Potastic, whole air feeling fantastic. Please get a time to draw my rhyme for all blue sublime. I got 6 jokes and 3 rhymes. So let's not waste any more time. All right. All right, era. What did the cop call an astronaut who was speeding? Rocket Man. Why did the bear slept all day? His day was too unbearable. Why did the computer called sick? Because he had a virus. What did the piggy bank said to the banker? Do you got any sense? What did the lumberjack name his kids? Oak, maple, willow, ash, hazel, and holly. Oh, don't forget about Woody. And last but not least, what did the colonel name his football team? The Kentucky Cajun Chickens. I hope you guys enjoy. All right. I have my first piece. This is called Bullets of War. I have a bullet with your name. My heart yearns for your demise. You're to blame for my flame. I'm going to kill you down to size. Why do I merely hate you? It's because you're my enemy. It's foggy hate, no clear views. My dark rays has no sympathy. I slowly reload my steel gun. My fingers covered in angry bees. My shadow covers the sun. Run, run, run away, please. There goes one of your eyes. You loudly bellowed, why? You fall, but your blood rise. You kept going. I whimper with a sigh. There goes one of your arms. You're my prey, but please go far away. You're disarmed, but still me you harm. What can I say that went underway? There goes one of your legs. The pain must be unbearable. It sounds like cracked eggs. What is next is unconceivable. There goes your head. I forgot what you said. Oh, right. I hope you eat lead. The cold grounds your bed. The roses oozed and spread. There goes one of your hands. You're just a man. I feel you, but I try not to understand. Now your name is buried in dirt and sand. I hear cries in my head. I wish it was me instead of you. I only dread the future up ahead. What can I do or hope to do? There are no winners in wars, more losses and no gains. There's no resurrections or restores. No, sorry. There's no resurrections or scores. Please, no more pain. Our life is remains. Do I really need to explain? Thank you. And I got another one. This is called Grieving Gun. Bullet with a name, a foggy mind, common sense tossed in flames, innocence corpses left behind, a pool of crimson, a flood emotions, a frigid hungry gun, names tossed in the ocean, a crying monster, a trail of blood, remorse from a butcher, stings from a billion suns, empty flaming hearts, a river of tears, guilt shooting darts, the signs are here. A collage of faces, time stands still, dark empty spaces, the inhumane chills, screams of justice, sounds of deaf ears, ignorance is bliss, sadness draws near. Memories in twilight, words left unsaid, darkness in hindsight, regrets left dead. Tears in the streets, loved ones with angels, bodies covered in concrete, feet full of anvils, lives taken away, coffins become full. Days of decay, one bloodthirsty fool. Funerals on display, ceremonies in black, meaning emotional heart attacks, crying hearts crack. Clouds of gray, downpour of rain, echoes of disarray, collars of pain. Flowers on altars, many grieving families, legends of slaughter, many deep sympathies. Okay, all right, I got one more store for Encore Forevermore. This is called Oh Erica. Oh Erica, why are you in so much pain in these chains? You're not just free, but bow on your knees. People advertise your image in so many stages. It's really sad because you were never so ironclad. The founding fathers sing all to the slaughter, the extreme spreading hate throughout your state. The rich love to be greedy by ignoring the needy. The crooked cops love to go pop, pop, pop. The poor victims being tags in the system. The old crimes lost in the passing of new times. The wars of what the fuck are we fighting for? That the pandemic that's kind of sort of raging havoc. The golden fools being used as mindless tools. The flashy reporters preaching everything but order. The social media bug hiding compassion on the rug. The worshippers of green causing the crime scenes. The innocent in cages watching anarchy rages. The video machines cast away some humanity. The noisy guns seems to avoid the trial runs. The pleas of Mother Nature and blazing labor. The global warming clouds bring so loud. The deep drills paying the bills, yet slowly kills. The few spoiling themselves, yet don't indulge on the bookshelves. Erica, you're everything but red, white, and blue. But what the fuck have they done to you? You're not a girl of opportunity, but an old woman with bags of pity. Oh, Erica, it's not your fault for thought. You're only the victim of global assault. Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, Eddie. Treading some dark waters tonight. Thank you very much for giving some thought to things. Where can people find you?
You can find me at this wonderful open mic that makes our Monday night such a delight in every other spotlight. But if you want to follow me, please feel free. My Facebook is Eddie Foreman and my IG is Eddie Foreman 92. Remember, if the mic is right, I'll be there to put my fantastic inside. But I wish you everyone a safe, beautiful night and never stop coming to this open mic and never stop being a delight.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you so much. With an attitude like that, we'll let him do whatever he wants. Thank you again, Ed. Before we close in our traditional fashion, I do want to finish the short story that I've been reading in installments the last couple of weeks, Emergency by Dennis Johnson. So we'll do that, and then we'll hand it to Dan to close out the night. The only, excuse me, make the transition a bit more apparent. The only light visible was a streak of sunset flickering below the hem of the clouds. We headed that way. We bumped softly down a hill toward an open field that seemed to be a military graveyard filled with rows and rows of austere, identical markers over soldiers' graves. I'd never before come across this cemetery. On the farther side of the field, just beyond the curtains of snow, the sky was torn away, and the angels were descending out of a brilliant blue summer, their huge faces streaked with light and full of pity. The sight of them cut through my heart and down the knuckles of my spine, and if there'd been anything in my bowels, I would have messed my pants from fear. Georgie opened his arms and cried out, "It's the drive-in, man!" The drive-in? I wasn't sure what these words meant. "They're showing movies in a fucking blizzard!" Georgie screamed. I see. I thought it was something else, I said. We walked carefully down there and climbed through the busted fence and stood in the very back. The speakers, which I'd mistaken for grave markers, muttered in unison. Then there was tinkling music, of which I could very nearly make out the tune. Famous movie stars rode bicycles beside a river, laughing out of their gigantic, lovely mouths. If anybody had come to see this show, they'd left when the weather started. Not one car remained. Not even a broken down one from last week, or one left here because it was out of gas. In a couple of minutes, in the middle of a whirling square dance, the screen turned black, the cinematic summer ended, the snow went dark. There was nothing but my breath. "I'm starting to get my eyes back," Georgie said in another minute. A general grayness was giving birth to various shapes, it was true. But which ones are close and which ones are far away? I begged him to tell me. By trial and error, with a lot of walking back and forth in wet shoes, we found the truck and sat inside it, shivering. "Let's get out of here," I said. "Well, you can't go anywhere without headlights." "We've got to get back. We're a long way from home." "No, we're not. We must have come 300 miles. We're right outside town, fuckhead. We've just been driving around and around. This is no place to camp. I hear the interstate over there. We'll just stay here till it gets late. We can drive home late. We'll be invisible. We listened to the big rigs going from San Francisco to Pennsylvania along the interstate like shutters down a long hacksaw blade while the snow buried us. Eventually, Georgie said, "We better get some milk for the bunnies." "We don't have milk," I said. "We'll mix sugar up with it." We forget about this milk all of a sudden. They're mammals, man. Forget about those rabbits. Where are they anyway? You're not listening to me. I said, forget the rabbits. Where are they? The truth was, I'd forgotten all about them, and they were dead. They slid around behind me and got squashed, I said tearfully. They slid around behind? He watched while I pried them out from behind my back. I picked them out one at a time and held them in my hands, and we looked at them. There were 8. There weren't any bigger than my fingers, but everything was there. Little feet, eyelids, even whiskers. Deceased, I said. Georgie asked, "Does everything you touch turn to shit? Does this happen to you every time?" No wonder they call me fuckhead. Yeah, it's a name that's going to stick. I realized that. Fuckhead is going to ride you to your grave. I just said so. I agreed with you in advance, I said. Or maybe that wasn't the time it snowed. Maybe it was the time we slept in the truck and I rolled over on the bunnies and flattened them. It doesn't matter. What's important for me to remember now is that early the next morning, the snow was melted off the windshield and the daylight woke me up. A mist covered everything, and with the sunshine was beginning to grow sharp and strange. The bunnies weren't a problem yet, or they'd already been a problem and were already forgotten, and there was nothing on my mind. I felt the beauty of the morning. I could understand how a drowning man might suddenly feel a deep thirst being quenched, or how the slave might become a friend to his master. Georgie slept with his face right on the steering wheel. I saw bits of snow resembling an abundance of blossoms on the stems of the drive-in speakers. No, revealing the blossoms that were always there. A bull elk stood still in the pasture beyond the fence, giving off an air of authority and stupidity. And a coyote jogged across the pasture and faded away among the saplings. That afternoon, we got back to work in time to resume everything as if it had never stopped happening and we'd never been anywhere else. "The Lord," the intercom said, "is my shepherd." It did that each evening because this was a Catholic hospital. "Our Father who art in heaven," and so on. Yeah, nurse said. The man with the knife in his head, Terrence Weber, was released around supper time. They'd kept him overnight and given him an eye patch, all for no reason, really. He stopped off at ER to say goodbye. "Well, those pills they gave me make everything taste terrible," he said. "Oh, it could have been worse," nurse said. "Even my tongue." "It's just a miracle you didn't end up sightless or at least dead," she reminded him. The patient recognized me. He acknowledged me with a smile. "I was peeping on the lady next door while she was out there sunbathing," he said. "My wife decided to blind me." He shook Georgie's hand. Georgie didn't know him. "Who are you supposed to be?" he said to Terrence Weber. Some hours before that, Georgie had said something that had suddenly and completely explained the difference between us. We'd been driving back toward town along the old highway through the flatness. We picked up a hitchhiker, a boy I knew. We stopped the truck, and the boy climbed slowly out of the fields as out of the mouth of a volcano. His name was Hardy. He looked even worse than we probably did. "We got messed up and slept in the truck all night," I told Hardy. "I had a feeling," Hardy said. "Either that or, driving 1,000 miles. "That too," I said. "Or you're sick or diseased or something." "Who's this guy?" Georgie asked. "Oh, this is Hardy. He lived with me last summer. I found him on the doorstep." "What happened to your dog?" I asked Hardy. "Oh, he's still down there." "Yeah, I heard you went to Texas." "Yeah, I was working on a bee farm," Hardy said. "Wow. Did those things sting you?" "Not like you think," Hardy said. "You're part of their daily drill." It's all a part of a harmony. Outside, the same identical stretch of ground repeatedly rolled past our faces. The day was cloudless, blinding. But Georgie said, "Look at that," pointing straight ahead of us. One star was so hot it showed bright and blue in the empty sky. "I recognized you right away," I told Hardy. "But what happened to your hair?" "Who chopped it off?" "I hate to say." "Don't tell me." "They drafted me." "Oh no." "Oh yeah. I'm AWOL. I'm bad AWOL. I gotta get to Canada." "Oh, that's terrible," I said to Hardy. "Don't worry," Georgie said. "We'll get you there." "How?" "Somehow. I think I know some people." "Don't worry, you're on your way to Canada." That world. These days, it's all been erased and they rolled it up like a scroll and put it away somewhere. Yes, I can touch it with my fingers, but where is it? After a while, Hardy asked Georgie, "What do you do for a job?" And Georgie said, "I save lives." Again, that was Emergency by Dennis Johnson, the greatest short story of the 20th century, according to me. Who else are you going to trust? We have had some late arrivals, which is always fun. We're going to put a couple more names on the list, provided they want to join in. And first, we're going to travel into international waters and head over to Malaysia, where Julian Matthews is. Julian, good to see you when you're ready.
Oh, hi. Okay.
Oh, did you? I missed. You did want to read, right? I didn't just put you on the spot.
No, I'm good. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
Can you see this? Is it too small?
I can read it just fine. Seems good.
So it's more prose than poetry. This is the coffee grinder. It looked like it belonged in a museum behind glass. It had a single drawer like a clothes chest, but much smaller. You could hold it in the palm of your hands. It was woody brown, unvarnished, and the top half was a brass half globe, unpolished, with a tiny window, openable, heart-shaped. It had a small hand crank, the kind you see on documentaries on Amish country. She said it was a coffee grinder, manual. You would put the beans on top, turn the crank, and the ground coffee would end up in the tiny drawer. She explained how it worked. She was moving house and asked whether I wanted it. I hesitated, thinking here was another household contraption that I would use once, then put back in the box and it'll end up in storage. I'm an instant mix kind of guy. I don't want to work for my coffee. Coffee, sugar, hot water, milk, stir. Sometimes I use the 3-in-1 sachet, stir, pour it out in a mug, hot water, done. This looked like a lot of work, but she insisted it did not seem sentimental to her. Maybe she used it once or twice, then switched to an electric one. She's moving from her apartment block to her mom's house. It's a little further away out of town and I will be seeing less of her. It's a sentimental journey. Not only is she packing and parting with stuff in the apartment, but she'll need to clear her mother's things. She says how she breaks down every time she opens one of the boxes. A wardrobe of clothes, the dresses she wore, the kitchen items she used, a dining set she favored for special guests, albums or photographs. She said going through the photos was too painful and reduced her to tears. It's been 7 years since her mother passed. It's hard to differentiate the useful from the sentimental, whether you really needed something as a reminder, a keepsake, or just give it away for charity for someone else who could use it. I watched a TED Talk once in which a woman author related how she went jogging in Rwanda, Africa, and spotted a blue sweater on a boy passing by. She stopped him because it looked familiar. It had a graphic of Mount Kilimanjaro in front. Back in the States, she was going through puberty at a time. I was filling up on top and the subject of typical schoolyard teasing. The boy allowed her to examine the sweater, and sure enough, the label at the back had a name on it. He made the hair on the back of a Nick stand. The sweater had traveled 5,000 miles from New York to Africa. She'd given it to Goodwill 10 years earlier. We never know where the things we give away are going to end up. I don't know if the coffee grinder meant anything to her, or whether her mother used it. Maybe it was the heart-shaped window on the top that she slid open as if opening her own heart. She leaned close and urged me to do so too. You could smell the coffee grounds from a time long ago in it, a specific bracketed episode in someone's life, in a mother's kitchen perhaps, maybe hers. She needed to let it go. I took it. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Is there any place, any internet presence where people can find you?
I'll just drop it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Okay, another real special treat. Someone, it's a big part of the first year of this, and is still a big part of this in our hearts and heads. Out in still in Wonder Lake, Illinois, I believe. The man who won the very first slam I participated. Please welcome Nico Kim to the microphone. Nico, are you there? Oh, don't do this to me, man. Oh, there you go.
I'm here trying to say, hey, you probably can't see me, but you won't be able to see me. But yeah, I mean, I don't have too much, but like I feel like I just wanted to get on the mic. So I guess I have like, I don't know.
You always got a spot here, man.
2 poems, but I have 2 poems, but I'm gonna start off with like singing a part of a song, and I hope it sounds cool. Dropping all my shit. Let's get fucked up and die. I'm speaking figuratively, of course, like the last time that I committed suicide, social suicide. Yeah, so I'm already dead on the inside, but I can still pretend with my memories and photographs I've learned to love the light. I want to know what it's like to be awkward and innocent, not belligerent. I want to know how it feels to be useful and pertinent and have common sense, yeah. Let me into the club, cause I want to belong and I need to get strong. And if memory serves, I'm addicted to words and they're useless in this department. So this poem's called Synchronicity. So this poem actually has a haiku as a title. Synchronicity of this blood moon and egghead got me in my own. So there's allusions to One Piece, the anime, really, really childish. But anyway, egghead is an allusion to that. Anyway, why does this, so to give context, there's a blood moon. I think that, I don't know how many people saw it, but it was like very recently. It was on November 8th. It was early this month. But anyway, so why does this eclipse give me a bloody headache, shaking in my boots? That's 2 in the same year. The bad omens from the nights forgotten got me hot and bothered, shocked in color, and mocked by discovery with lack of reverie by reverting to mysteries lost by histories. I could list degrees of separation between myself and Amun Ra and Shamash, but get lost in the translations from a script all but forgot. I'm not digging the archetypal archaeologist aroused in the deep caverns of my being as it's excavating some inkling of an evacuation. My senses heightened in escalation by some tingling sensation. My frustration does not come from any prophecy of doom, but the lack of strength to face it. But let's face it, it's from the fall of man that man reassesses their reach toward the sun. Icarus falls. Nika laughs. So I gotta find a poem that goes well with that, I guess. And then I'll end with one more poem and then we'll call it good. Appreciate you guys. Hey, what's up? Hi, family. Let me find my poem. Where'd it go? It's got to be around here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, this one. Okay. This is a three-part poem because it's a part of a three-part poem. I think it's still fair to call me an optimist. I think it's still fair to call me optimistic. I crave the elongation of the human soul. I look forward to the day the soul isn't seen as egocentric. If Jesus' resurrection is supposed to be an amalgamation or collection of a nation's best selection of ethics from an individualistic philosophical construction, then the destruction of ethics will not be when conflict persists, but rather when nothing but peace exists. Imagine the absence of chaos, though. And then, because I did that song, I'm going to do the allusion to, this poem is called Allusion to LGFUAD. So the song that I sang, and salute to contemporaries. My mind could be seen splattered against the backdrop of my wall in an internal image as it has exploded from the epiphany that a privileged white boy who ate some shrooms can come to the same revelation as a North Korean refugee who lays their eyes upon Picasso's Starry Night. Because in the same vein, or rather on the same vine, a predecessor of mine produced a poem so prolific, bachelors have had to put their pencils to pads and fingers to keyboards or fingertips to devices, writing or typing responses in crisis for his Bacchus. Luckily, my mind explosion only happened in my mind brain, because though I have more Emerson or Mark Twain and Langston Hughes and Ed Buckley and Tezozo Mock and Sindler to read, I've been living the life the romantics and beats and hippies were writing about. I found the only time romanticism can be considered pragmatic is in art. Thus, here are the pieces of my mind splattered against the backdrop of my wall. To be fair, the transposition could have been prettier, though. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Where can the folks follow you? This is their first time seeing you.
Nico Kim. I have a book out, but I'm working on a book. Should be published in July.
Okay.
I was hoping you show up, Mr. Tezozuma, at the when I dropped it at that open mic, and I'm still waiting for Dane to send me that video. But hey, boys, love you, family.
Right back at you with interest. Nico showing up actually allows me to transition to a little announcement, because excuse me, the first Thanksgiving where we were doing this, where we had this digital space, Nico reached out to me because he wanted to cover one of my poems. I believe he also reached out to Tez for that. And I had reached out to Richie to cover one of his. And last Thanksgiving, I decided, what if we do on purpose the thing we did by accident, and we all cover each other's work? And so in the spirit of Thanksgiving, next Monday, I'll be your host again, and we'll be having our poetry potluck. Most of us are friends, or at least friendly, so we can reach out to each other. We can ask for works, and we can do our best to pay tribute to each other and lift each other up in a way that scientists can't explain. So what the fuck is gravity? But we are coming to the end of another great night here at the Barbed Wire Open Mic Series Stay at Home Mic. Still going strong. And speaking of still going strong, we've got a long way to go in terms of episode count before we catch Dan the Man's Weekly. I believe we're on 120 something, and he's at 800 something. So we got a decade of doing this before we catch up to him, and that's assuming he stops, and I don't think he'll ever stop. We're going to the bullpen. We're calling the right-hander. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dan the Man. When you're ready, Dan. Oh, sound like an AM radio, Dan. We're not hearing you. There's your hip.
Shoot, hold on.
Okay, we got you there. Don't know what. Just to hold on.
And the whole tour of his desk area and bedroom. Nice.
Enter aux in plane.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. You're good.
Okay, let me pop up the volume. Oh, you still hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, so yeah, I had to use this thing. Okay. Yeah, as you know, okay, let me start over. How's everybody doing tonight? As you know, I'm wearing my O2, my Letterman jacket from Franklin High School. It's been 2 decades now, and I'm wearing my Slash, Prince Consort of my senior prom, 2002. Yeah. Yep, here it is. Here it is. Especially, you guys see it?
Oh yeah, go Cougars.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And even though over the weekend, I'm going to show you a pic while I read this wonderful poetry I did for my class of 2002. Okay, hold on. Okay, layout. No. That one. Okay, and that is pictures of my 20-year reunion. And let me zoom up. Yeah, there it is. The blanket, the pictures, the ribbons for the football, and our class picture, and the one we signed right here. And yep, the cakes right here. And oh yeah, guess what says? Oh yeah, just like Elvis. And this is what I did 10 years ago. Okay, and I'm gonna put this right here in my classroom. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna put this right there. Okay, since it's been 2 long decades since the last time I graduated, I know lots has changed and everything's changed. So here it is, the poetry I did 20 years later after high school, which I forgot to put Franklin High School. Well, I'm gonna put 20 years later after high school by me. Franklin High School, class of 2002. 4 years was cool. Before and during high school, memories were cool. I remember we once said, we came, we saw, we conquer, but we sure did rule. Our school, our year, never fear. We were here. We became class of 2002. It was the day we graduated. We say, go Cougars. We sure did graduated. We do appreciate it. Being class of 2002. That was then. Looking forward for is something new, like college, business, family. That was a start. A new journey from the bottom of our hearts. Sorry about that. 20 years ago, oh, let me change something. Well, come on. Okay, this one. Okay. Just like 20 years ago, Franklin High School, that was a start for all of us to take part. No fuss, no muss. Well, 10 years ago, 10 years later, well, that was 10 years ago in 2012. It was halfway through the journey. What can we say? Still, go Cougars. Nevertheless, today, 20 years later, here we are today in 2002. We still say, go Cougars. Hold on. Yeah, like I said, we still say go Cougars. Some are here today, some are here back then, some wishing we were here, but a couple of we know are sadly gone, like our friends Stephen Judd, Miguel Luciano, Chris Ortiz. They were class of 2002, God rest their souls. But the memories we can always remember are the best. Our future was our quest. We did graduate and started our journey, and here we are today. Our 20-year reunion. My goodness, it's been 2 long decades since the last time, since the day we graduated, May of 2002. It was something new. We still say go Cougars. I say, hopefully, to see you all in the next 10 years from now for the 30-year reunion, maybe 20 years from now, like according to the late Kylie Ray Harris, 20 years from now. Beautiful song. For the 40-year, well, till we meet again, and we say this again, and once more, and as always, go Cougars. Yep. Here it is. Me taking a stroll around the school, remembering some good memories. And get this, behind me right here. Yep. It's been 20 years since the time we graduated. Here it is. Well, 2002. That was new, but I hope something new will come in lieu. Yes, always go Cougars. Well, on behalf of Franklin High School, myself and my fellow class of 2002, we want to say to you, Thank you. And hope to see my friends in 2032. Yes. Hashtag FHS02. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And again, till we meet again, and we say this again, go Cougars. All right. Sorry. What y'all think?
I think go Cougars, man. I skipped my tenure. You're kind of making me regret it. Well, who knows how I'll feel in 4 years, though. I said, who knows how I'll feel in 4 years.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, Kit, what class you were?
06.
Franklin High School?
Yep.
Go Cougars, my friend.
Go Cougars.
Go. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna share this on my next blog, and I'm also gonna feature this, and especially the special scenes of my poetry slam will be dedicated this to my class of 2002 of Franklin High School in the last 20 years. There's also scenes of my poetry slam where I did my poetry on the day of my 20-year anniversary. So you guys are gonna like this one. I'm gonna feature this one, especially the one from the week ago, which, yeah. All right. Okay. All right, here it is. Read it and weep it. I'm behind post on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but I'm catching up on Instagram. I already uploaded some pics from last Saturday and last Friday, so you guys will see it. So, all right, but most importantly, find Dan the Man's Weekly on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget the hashtag. All right, once again, go Cougars. All right. All right, thanks a lot, Kit, and thank you, Richie, and everybody else. So, and yeah, till we meet again. So, all right, Kit, let's go ahead and call it a night. Well, let Richie to call it a night, though. All right, thank you, Kit. Thank you, guys. Hope to see you guys next Monday for pre-Thanksgiving. All right, back to you, Kit.
All right, back to me. Thank you, Dan.
Let me go back to my spotlight. Hold on.
Oh, what? I thought you were wrapping it up. What's going on?
Hang on.
We already saw your
click. Click.
Oh, okay.
Click.
Oh, we're good. We're good. Thank you,
All
Kit.
right, yeah.
Go Cougars.
Go Cougars. Yes. Me and Dan share an alma mater. Now you all know that. Gonna wrap things up real quick with my plugs. Just if you want more of your dashing host this evening, Instagram at Kit Ran Away, Twitter at Kit Talk Sports, where things are a little different. Ko-fi.com/Kit Ren, where things are way different, but also kind of the same. You can find me on Facebook, easy enough. You can send me an email. You can drop something in the tip jar via PayPal, would be much appreciated. And of course, Tumblewords. I'm gonna mute you, Dan. Hang on. And of course, I am also the director coordinator of the Tumblewords project. And this Saturday, I'm also the facilitator. So gonna be wearing all my hats at once as I take people through some close readings of some Joy Harjo poems. Because as Sandy mentioned, it is Native American Heritage Month. I think it's an appropriate time to look at her work. And as Vail mentioned, they will be doing the Tumblewords December 10th. That's going to be very exciting. In between that, my friend Sarah Beltray, who runs NaNoWriMo, will be having a little crossover. And on the 3rd will be Chris Kalia, a very good writer from British Columbia, from Vancouver, the Vancouver area. For the official sign off, we'll hand it back to Richie. Thanks again, Richie, for trusting me on short notice. I hope I lived up to things. and take it away.
Alrighty then. Thank you. Appreciate everyone who tuned in tonight on YouTube. And of course, as always, everyone who performed. I'm still feeling a little in my throat. If you missed the beginning of the show, kind of fell under the weather just as the show was starting. So much props to Kit for filling in, and doing the thing that he does so well. I'm drinking some hot tea, some sleepy tea. And again, next Monday, want to come through. It's not just pre-Thanksgiving, it's the poetry potluck. So be on the lookout for the sign-up sheet that goes up next week. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and close the live stream tonight. Thanks again, everyone. Leave a comment below. Who did you like? What line stood out to you? As always, lots of great lines, lots of poems, lots of great art, funny jokes, some music, a little bit of it all, right? So for the live stream,